everyone, Denise Girl here. Oh, hey Nancy, what's up, girl? Today we're going to be taking a look at Tiny Living's new items, as well as how they compare to items from other packs with a similar style, Bowling Night and Get Famous. Those two have mid-century items in them, and Tiny Living is not necessarily mid-century modern style. It's technically Higa. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I tried. We looked at it on Google Translate the other day on Molly's stream. No idea how to say it. I think it's Hyuga. Hyuga. Okay, we're gonna go with Hyuga. Anyway, so that is like kind of the IKEA style of building, and so it's not necessarily mid-century modern, even though the lines are similar. Anyway, we're gonna stop looking at these atrocious exteriors to houses. I did not focus on the outside. I focused on the inside. So we're actually gonna dive in and look at the Tiny Living themed build first, and then move into the others. Okay, so the first thing is we actually did get a new door with this pack. It's right here, and I mean, it's nice. It's got clean lines. I think it fits the style perfectly. I'm not sure I'll use it much, but it is nice. Here's my little test sim right here. Ignore him. The style that I went for in this room was just like a clean, white, simple style that I think works really well with this pack. There are lots of nice bright colors too, but I wanted a brighter feel for this house because I feel like white, no, I feel like, I know that's a fact, white helps make a space feel bigger, so I think it's important in a tiny home. These new wall art, beautiful. They have lots of good swatches. I'm sure that you guys have seen the overview of other people's videos, so I'm not going to go through all the swatches. I did not change the swatch of this TV. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so we have a single bed. I did not use the Murphy bed in this house because it just took up too much space. That's something that I have not necessarily a complaint about. I think that Murphy beds obviously do save space technically. Like they allow more walking room, but in The Sims, they still take up the same amount of tiles. So they don't necessarily save space. Regardless, this new single bed is beautiful. I would have loved to see it in a double bed option. I'm sure a modder will come out with that. I chose to use the round side table in this build because I liked breaking it up with a little bit more like round shapes as opposed to all of the straight lines. This is the new combo object, the bookshelf, stereo, and TV. And then over here, we've actually got the new one-tile dresser as well as the new one-tile desk. These beautiful wall hanging plants. We do not have enough of them. This new mirror. Now, I know a lot of people are saying it's too high on the wall, and I would agree with that. However, it does allow it to go above this dresser, which I think is important because if you're trying to save space but also still decorate, you can put this mirror above this dresser, which I love. I was able to fit a full kitchen in here. There's obviously not an oven, but you could put an oven in here. I just didn't. There's this new wall shelf, which is beautiful. I think it actually has a deco slot, so that's nice too. New lights that we've got, and then I was actually able to fit a full bathroom in as well in here with the new toilet, the new wall shelf, the new mirror, and the new sink, which is beautiful. I love that style of sink as well as a shower. So as far as tiny living goes, this house, which by the way, all three of these houses, technically they don't on the actual lot because it breaks it having three of them, but this house is 32 tiles wide and I did not use any move objects. So I think I actually fit a lot of stuff in here, especially not being able to use move objects. And that's the thing too with tiny living is I wanted to see if I could build three houses that have the same functionality in all three of them. And spoiler alert, I could not. In this house, there is a desk with a computer. There's a TV. There's a stereo. There's a bookshelf. Like there's a dining table with two chairs, a fridge, like everything, even space for an oven, even though I didn't include one. And then a full dressing area as well. So it's realistic. And obviously you don't have to have that for your Sims. It does not have to be realistic. They can use a mirror to change clothes, but it's nice to have a dresser. So I would say these items are beautiful, they're functional, and I'll definitely be using them. Now we're gonna move over to the Get Famous and Bowling Night builds that I did. I wanted to compare not necessarily the look of the items, but they do have a similar-ish style. So is it worth it to get Tiny Living for the benefits of the tiny home? Now this is the build that I did with Get Famous. We have the Get Famous door. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. This one I went with like a more earth-toned style, and I did do a different layout with it. It does have a double bed in here, which I could have done a single base game bed, but again, I wanted to focus on as many of the mid-century modern kind of items in these packs, because that's kind of what everyone's comparing them to, is that they would work well with Tiny Living, and I do think they would, even though they're technically not the same exact style as far as period goes. So we have the Get Famous lights and all that stuff. I did do some open shelving. Again, I didn't use any move objects, so it looks kind of strange to have like those objects. But what you'll notice in here is that even though it's the same exact, like the same exact shape, there's not near as many things in here, and obviously that could be attributed to the fact that there's a double bed in, but I don't think I would be able to fit a desk in here because we don't have, I did only use base game with the packs in here as well. So we do not have a single tile desk in base game. We do have a TV because TVs can now go on side tables. And that's a base game update. If I hadn't been able to do that, I would not have had a TV in this build, I don't think. And so there's just less functionality. There's not a dresser. There is a full bathroom again. I was able to fit a full bathroom in all three of these builds. So they could change their clothes and their appearance at the mirror here. It's just not the same to me whenever you're thinking about like having a fully functional house. Like, I want to have a dresser, I want to have a desk, I want to have a dining table. We don't have a dining table. Obviously, the Sims can sit and eat at their couch. We don't have a stove in this build. I think that you could have obviously fit a stove there, and then they could have built where the microwave was at. But I didn't include a stove in any of these builds, and I think I was just being an idiot. So that's it for this Get Famous tiny build. I think it's fine. It's functional. It works fine. The style is similar. So if you don't want to spend the $10 on Tiny Living, if you're not interested in the actual aspect of tiny builds, then maybe not. But the items in Tiny Living would work rather well with Get Famous. Now for Bowling Night, it's a little bit more interesting because I actually thought there were more items that came with Bowling Night. This is obviously not all of the items because there are bowling items. But as far as usable house items, there weren't near as many. There's this chair here as well as this little side table. This house is kind of similar in that to the Get Famous house, in the sense that there's not as many things, and I think that's what we can take away from Tiny Living, is that those combined items actually are quite helpful, because even though they might take up the same amount of space, let's say the TV does take up the same amount of space as it would on a side table, it has the bookshelf functionality as well as the stereo functionality. So while those aren't necessary, it is quality of life improvement for your Sims. So in this house, I was able to fit a 2-tile dresser as well as a single bed, and then a full kitchen. Again, you could have a stove here. I didn't include one. Why didn't I do that? I woke up not very long ago. So I did include the little partition from Bowling Night. This is a perfectly fine house. I wanted to go for like a more modern, like really sleek white and black gray theme with this house. Again, the items specifically from Bowling Night here are this clock, this lamp, this side table, the partition, and the chair are all from Bowling Night. So this is not nearly as with the pack as it could have been. The rest of the items are from base game, but there's a fully functional bathroom again as well. So we're back on the actual Tiny Living house. I think what I would take away from this is that I think that Tiny Living is absolutely worth it, particularly if you are into building tiny homes, because the multifunctional items do allow more things to be in the house, as well as there's the challenge for building, if you are a builder, to have 32 tiles. Now this is 32 tiles. This is a micro home, so that's interesting. I was able to fit literally every item besides a stove and I could have fit a stove that you need to have a fulfilling life for your sim, and you could put skill building items outside. There's no limit to what you can have outside the house. So I mean, I definitely think Tiny Living is worth it, and even the style, while it would work well with Get Famous and Bowling Night, and even like Laundry Day and probably Discover University, I think there's a lot of cross pack compatibility as far as the items. I just realized those wood tones are not the same. Oops. Um, but I definitely think that this pack is worth it for the $10, especially if it ever goes on sale. And the items are beautiful. My thoughts are it's definitely worth it. The new items are great, and it works well with other packs. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know, are you going to get Tiny Living? Do you already have it? I will probably upload these builds separately to the gallery once I've actually made the outside a little prettier, because it is bad right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!